Okay, so what we're going to do today is it's going to kind of be a prelude for the months to come with webinars. And what I'd like to do is kind of do deeper dives with the information that we're going to talk about today. So what I do is I came up with 20 strategies. They're pretty much all proven. So I actually know people that are succeeding, or I've done it myself. So these aren't concepts. A lot of it is going to be a reminder. And the reason we need reminders is because a lot of things we think are good ideas and then we fail to ever take action. We actually just don't even implement. We're like, oh, that's a good idea. And then 6 months later, we're like, oh yeah, that's still a good idea. And really, the ideas don't really matter. So it doesn't really matter what we know. Like when people are like, oh, I already know that. Well, are you doing it? So I just want 2020 to be a year of like taking action and actually putting things into place and tracking them and seeing what works. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about some strategies for lead generation. Oh, I have that on there twice. Lead generation, lead conversion, client care, and personal development. So anybody that's kind of been in momentum understands those four building blocks and what they are, what they comprise of. So today, the big thing is I want people to write down 4 or 5 things. I'd really like everyone to grab a sheet of paper and just put a line down the middle. And on the left, I want you to put good ideas. And on the right, I want you to just write the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just in a row, like that, from top down. And what I'm going to challenge you to do over the next hour is anything that sounds like a good idea, like it aligns with your belief system, the idea that I talk about, and maybe some of the proof that I have that it works, is something that aligns with something you would want to implement in 2020. And then on the right side, the 1 through 5, which you might not fill out until the end, those are things that you're actually going to commit to taking action to over the next 60 days. So it's something that you are willing to try and work on and implement into either your personal or your business life. And those 5 things, it would be great if you could then share those with Lori or myself, and we can just kind of do check-ins with you to make sure that you actually do get those implemented in the first quarter of 2020. So hopefully over the next 60 to 90 days. So with that, I thought I'd go ahead and just remind everybody, everybody wants to talk about hustle, and I know that's a big theme throughout RE/MAX. And, sometimes it's good to just do a self-evaluation of how much are you hustling? How much are you actually spending time in your business and on your business? And do you understand the difference? Also, a lot of people have been kind of doing the new commercials that are out there, and they're kind of cool and fun. And you can find those on remaxhustle.com. So I just thought I'd kind of remind you of that. So proactive and intentional, we know that that's really where we want to try to stay during our work hours, is proactive and intentional. And that is a complete movement away from S&R. So who remembers from Momentum what S&R is? You remember, Lori? If we're proactive and intentional, we're moving away from 90% of the agent population, which is S&R. And do you remember what S&R stands for? No? So spontaneous and reactive. So a lot of times agents kind of get up and they're just spontaneous and reactive. Basically, they look at their phone and their email, and that determines what they're going to do that day. And what we really want to have a shift occur is that you get up every day and you work on moving your business forward because you actually have a plan. You know what you're going to do. And I tell people a lot of times, you know what, if you want to be S&R, that's fine. Why don't you be that after 1 o'clock? So from 9 to 1, if you'll work on moving your business forward and doing things on your own agenda and not everybody else's agenda, you're going to have a great business. But you have to have the plan. So if anybody needs help figuring out their plan and their schedule, we would love to help you figure that out, because the more P&I you can be, the happier you're going to be. Your bank account's going to increase. Your consumer experience your client experience will increase. Your referrals will increase. Like, everything stems from you being in control. And, a good way to know if you're in control of your business or not is to actually take your phone and put it on silent and put it in another room for like 2 hours in the morning. Like, the people that don't have to like be attached to this stupid thing, that's how you kind of can tell whether or not you're in control or not. And then you're filling those hours doing things to move your business forward. And that's what we're trying to get everybody to, a place where you're in control and you feel that level of confidence in your business and in your approach. So I actually put together 20. So it's gonna kind of be, rapid fire. I'm gonna still keep it at an hour, but this will give you a lot to kind of chew on. And then what I really like to do in February is we're gonna take some of these concepts and do deeper dives. We're gonna get some things implemented. We're gonna figure out the blocks that keep us from getting things done, and maybe from, what's really stopping us from having the business that we truly want to have. So number 20 is kind of what I'm talking about in the beginning, an AMS, and that's your activities management system, and that's following a schedule. So if you treat your career like a job, you should have a job description. And within that job description, you should have tasks and activities, and then those should be put into time blocks. So we've taught activities management for a couple of years now. And so people are like, oh, yeah, I already know that. And then when I look at what they're doing and where they're spending their time, they know it, but they certainly haven't implemented it. So if you are still on the fence, or you've only implemented a small portion of your AMS, that's fine. Can we improve on that? Can we actually start to implement more of our activities management system? Can we get our business owner activities of lead generation and lead conversion, can we get those into a schedule? If you just scheduled your LG and LC, the client care and the personal development would all take care of itself. So really, the lead generation and lead conversion, those 10 hours a week, the clearer and the more focused and the more defined that those two blocks are, the better your business is going to be. And most of you, once you get a client, you know how to service the client. You know how to take care of the client. You're spending time in personal development. You're going to the CE classes. You're learning the contract changes. You've kind of got those figured out. Where I see a lot of people struggle is they don't have enough lead generating activities to fill 1 hour, 5 days a week. And it's only because they haven't sat down and figured out where their business is going to come from and what activities need to be implemented and put in place to have new opportunities come into your business. So lead generation is you're doing activities for 1 hour, 5 days a week that are designed to have you meet new people that you don't know who they are. You don't have their email. You don't know them. Lead generation is all about finding new opportunity to come into your business. And just because you spend an hour on it 5 days a week doesn't mean that you're going to get a ton of new opportunities every day. What's going to happen is you're going to be planting seeds all the time with whatever sales channels you decide. So once you know how to fill an hour of lead generating activities for 5 hours a week, it's very rare that you won't have an unbelievable business. The people that do lead generating activities 1 hour a month are the ones that continually struggle. Like, they stay in survival mode. So if I could help anybody in any area, it's usually understanding the difference and then the activities that are associated with lead generation and lead conversion. So lead generation, you're doing activities for 1 hour, 5 days a week that are designed to find new people to work with. And if you need help figuring those out, I'd love to sit with you and drill down and figure out what aligns with your belief system. Lead conversion, you already have the person. You already know them. You've already have a phone number. You have an email. They've already entered into your sphere. And then you have to figure out what classification they're in. And the conversion part is all about follow-up and appointments. Follow-up and appointments. That's what lead conversion is. So it's not finding someone new. It's figuring out what your next step is with someone that's already in your pipeline. And those are very, very distinct activities. So 1 hour of lead generation, then 1 hour of follow-up. And then your client care and your personal development, that's going to fill in the rest of your day. And most people don't get that as defined, and that's fine. I actually almost feel like the AMS could just be schedule your lead generation, lead conversion, know exactly what you're doing, and you'll have an unbelievable business. But you have to commit to the 10 hours a week. That's the hard part, is committing to that 10 hours a week. The people that already do that, they're off to the races. So think about your AMS. Is that going to go on the good idea side of the page, or is that going to be number one on the right side of your page? You're going to get this in place this year, and hopefully it falls on one side of the page for you right now. Again, it's 1 hour of each, and then of course client care and personal development can be a lot more. And if you don't have any clients, or you're not doing any personal development now, are you allowed to do more hours of lead generation, lead conversion? Of course. But I think that most people can stay focused and in a good, positive frame of mind to do those activities, which is what you need to do. You need to be real positive. You need to be upbeat. It needs to be when you're feeling your best, because that's when you're going to get the best results. So try not to let the client care and the personal development filter in during those hours. Stay very committed to those blocks for those 2 hours, and you'll have amazing results. You can put it out on, you can use Booge to schedule your tasks if you like stuff on the computer. I actually had to go back to a day timer. I felt so funny having my day timer, and people would be like, hey, can we schedule this? And if I didn't have my day timer, everybody used their phone. And so I went to the phone, and it really has just ended up being a disaster for me. It just didn't work. So I found this new day timer. It's called Win by Noon. Kind of reminds me of Buffini. And it's really helped me get back on track with my activities and all my note writing. And so I just had to go back to paper. So whatever works for you is great, but try to figure out what it is that's going to work for you. So next one, number 19, this is know your numbers. And again, we've done the lifestyle numbers. We've done this exercise so many times. People are like, oh yeah, I know. But have you done? I should do that. How about I did do it. Let's have that shift from all these things that we should do to actually implementing and getting them done. If you'd like the spreadsheets to kind of make it easier, where you can just put it in the Excel spreadsheets, I have those. I think Lori has those. We're happy to give you those. But once you know your numbers, that will give you the clarity and the focus. And one thing that I did go to that's kind of fun for me, I started it last year. It's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things for me. I know exactly what my monthly nut is that I'm trying to cover. And that includes all my bills and everything that I want to save. And then I just have my little calendar, and every time I earn income, like I have a couple checks here from some stuff that I did, I write it down. So I have it visually. So I'm constantly looking. I'm like, all right, am I hitting my monthly nut? How much above am I going? It's just I just call it my income calendar. And it just sits here on my desk. It's just this little goofy thing, but it keeps me inspired. I'm like, okay, oh good, I've already hit my nut for the month. Now I'm going to put this in my retirement bucket, or I'm going to hit this extra into my vacation bucket. So the visual, like doing this visually, and I started this when I came out here. Actually, I had it in Atlanta the last year I was there, but I got really serious about it last year, and it's just made a difference for me. It's just a little trick, but these spreadsheets will help you kind of get your numbers. And once you know your numbers, divide them out for the year and put that number that you need to hit every month visually. Just kind of keeps you motivated. So it's just a little trick. Same thing with the entrepreneur's mantra. And again, this is something we've gone over and over, but have you actually implemented it? I have mine, I have it laminated, and the office has a laminator, and I keep it right on my desk. And every morning I look at it, I say it out loud. I hit my number last year, and it was a pretty lofty goal for my first year out here in Denver. And I really think that I really attribute to the fact that I look at it every day and I say it. I'm keeping the same number actually as I did last year because it was a good number for me. So if you need this sheet, we're happy to get it for you. Put your number in there and laminate it. Keep it visually. It really does help. I know Evie had done this. She's like, I feel like just because I did the entrepreneur's mantra and had it and looked at it every day, is like she passed her goal. But give it a try. These are strategies. These are just little tips and tricks that actually are really working for people. And I know a lot of people that do goals and write them and have them visually, and they usually hit them or surpass them. So try if you haven't done it before. 18, try to stop multitasking. This will help you with your activities management system, but when you're doing a bunch of things at one time, you're rarely doing them very well. So if you can really embrace staying focused on one area, one task at a time, and try to improve, actually try to improve, I think it'll really help your business results. I went into Unroll.me, into one of my email accounts. It's helped me get rid of a lot of junk that comes in. So I was able to unsubscribe to a bunch of programs all at one time. And then everything that I wanted to keep, I can put into one email, and it comes about 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's not like sitting there right when I go check my email in the morning. You don't have to add things to the Unroll Me, so it kind of gives you some flexibility, but it does cut out a lot of junk in your email box. So I would just consider checking that out and see if it's something that you want to do. The other thing that I finally went through, I stopped all notifications on my phone, so I don't actually get notifications. But I couldn't believe how many groups I was in Facebook that I no longer participated in. So it was kind of nice to go in and just clean out all that clutter and all that junk. So if you found that, you joined a bunch of groups, but then they kind of scared you or you just lost interest, don't forget to go in and actually get out of them. So that's not for the people that are in the personal note challenge. Make sure you stay there. Just kidding. But it is good to try to limit the things that keep coming at you so that you can really work on your business and yourself instead of everybody else's agenda. 17. So Pearson's Law, we've kind of talked about this in a couple of the last webinars, and that is whatever you measure improves. And then whatever you measure and report improves exponentially. And this was really a little bit of the concept behind what I did with my personal note challenge on Facebook. It's the act of actually reporting what you're recording. So having that extra accountability and push really does start to solidify and improve your skill set and the results in which you get. So you can do this for anything. I'm encouraging everybody to just find an accountability partner for 2020, but get serious about it. So it's not one that it starts twice a month and then the next month you're like, well, let's just do it once a month. I mean, you've got to find someone who's as serious as you are about just having the check-in, and then you need to get really specific on what it is you want to try to measure, record, and report. So for me, with the personal note challenge, I wanted to get back into a habit that I'd gotten out of. And I thought that maybe there were some other people that may had gotten out of a habit too, or that wanted to share that they were already good at it and reinforce. So the personal note challenge, you have to take a picture of your notes. You have to post it in a very specific spot, and it has to be done by Sunday each week. And then everybody's results goes onto a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is then shared. And for me, it became more about keeping my word, because a lot of times we're not keeping our word. Like we're not making decisions, we're not making commitments, we're not being serious, and all that really does translate into not keeping your word. And as I read every year, I read the Four Agreements, and and it's a great book to read over and over again. But one of them is be impeccable with your word. And what that means is if you say you're going to do something, do it, and be kind to the way you speak to yourself too. So it's really been we're on week 3, and it's been a lot of fun. And I can see other areas that I would like to do this, and maybe I'll do something different for the second quarter. This one was a first quarter, but you need to start tracking. And if you can get an accountability partner, I think it would really, really help you. It really seals in the reinforcement of what you're trying to accomplish. I would start using the transaction source tracker every month. I would print this out every month, the first of every month, go back and look at how much business did I do in January? What were the listings that I sold? Who did I work with on the buyer side? And where did that piece of business come from? So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I've already seen that source tracker. Right. But are you using it? Like, that's why I said so much of this is a reminder, but it's a reminder for you to stop knowing stuff and to start doing stuff. So I really hope when you start to realize where your business is coming from month after month, that just reinforces a skill that you can get better at. And it will also expose if you're investing in areas that aren't actually turning into anything for you. And at that point, you can analyze, do I need to work on my conversion skill? Or is this just something that's not really aligning with who I am and what I want to accomplish? And maybe I'll just stop doing that. And I'll pour more of my time into maybe open houses. If you're noticing, wow, that was from an open house. I know when I went through this process with Judy Goodman, she's like, wow, I had 4 FSBOs last year. What the heck? How come I didn't try to do more of those? And so sometimes when you just look at your numbers, and again, you could just get an accountability partner to the first of every month, say, hey, on the first of every month, do you want to go through where your business came from? And I'm going to go through where mine came from. And maybe we can bounce ideas off of each other and try to improve. So this is just a great way for you to see what's working, what's not, and then for you to be proactive and intentional for 2020. So go deeper into the areas that you're already having success. Other things that I would consider tracking this year are these 14 areas. And you might have 25 areas that you track. Some people are really good at tracking. And then other people will be like, oh, I don't like to track. I don't care. I hope you'll change your self-talk, because when you start looking at where you're spending your time, how many appointments you're going on, what your expenses are, when you become hyper-focused into your business, you can really see improvement, and you can see areas that you might need to ask for some help. Like, oh, I think I need some help. I went on 4 listing appointments, but I only got 1. So maybe we can help you in the conversion area. So definitely consider tracking some of these. I'll give the slide deck, we'll put the slide deck up, and this is being recorded so you can go back. But remember, you're working off of a good idea list and then 5 things that I'm hoping you're going to try to implement in the next 60 days. So hopefully you're kind of filling that in as we go through. All right, 16. Don't be afraid to cut back to grow. And that's all about, you don't need 5 million people. Like, we've talked about this, and I know Top 100, I probably drilled this in where everybody's really sick of hearing it. But the cool thing about it is, if you do want to put this into Booj, we can put it in as an action plan. And then that action plan can just autofill your calendar for you. So you don't have to actually work off of that spreadsheet anymore. We can put it into Booj. We can A+A, B, and C your people, and then we can apply the task plan in a really systematic way so that it just fills your calendar. Hey, it's time to text this person. Hey, it's time to do this for this person. So if you want to go deeper on the Top 100 and would like to get that implemented, I have a whole video, and I'd love to just spend some one-on-one time with you. Lori's very familiar with this as well, but you don't need 1 million people. Some people have actually gotten their list down to 50. It's just 50 people and they just pour themselves into the 50 people, and their results are tremendous because the relationship goes so deep. Become a massive giver. So the people that really work by referral, and I know Susan's on here, the people that have a truly working by referral model know, and most of their time is spent giving. They just constantly are giving, and people don't realize how you can give. It's not like always things or cups of coffee or pop buys. It's your time, it's your care, it's those personal notes. It's also helping other people's business grow. So almost everyone in your database, most of them, there might be some that are independently wealthy, but a lot of people go to work, and they go to work to, you know, take care of their families. And almost everybody that goes to work needs customers for that business to stay afloat. So just like you need customers to stay afloat, almost everybody in your database, probably 100% of people, they also need customers. So if you can always be looking at how you can help other businesses grow and how you can give referrals, the more referrals you give, the more you get. And I always bring up Susan because she, no matter what, like it does not matter what you bring up, she will have a recommendation or a place that she's been or a suggestion. And it's just second nature. It's just a second nature thing because she wants to share great places that she's been, and maybe they're part of her database. Like, and I know a lot of people that when you get into this habit, it becomes second. You don't even realize you're doing it. Like I can say, oh, I'm going to dinner at Pompous. Oh my God, have you been to Frankie's yet? Have you? Like it just comes out. So think of ways that you can help your business, and the top 100 will really help you be that massive giver because it keeps you deepening relationships. And when you understand that everyone in your sphere of influence is probably going to encounter about 5 people in the next 12 months that need to buy or sell at some point. They're going to hear someone at work or someone in their neighborhood is going to say, hey, I have to move. A family member might need to be doing something. They will hear of at least 5 people. I started keeping track when I moved out to Denver, and I've come across 9 people since I moved here in October last year that ended up having to move, buy or sell. It's uncanny, but when you really look at it, it's crazy. It's so true. So you're hoping to maybe get a warm introduction with maybe one of the 5 that they come in contact with. And that's why the deeper you go with the relationship with your very best people, and they don't become desensitized to an email newsletter, but you're actually taking interest in them and having conversations. And, you know, it's not always about every time you talk to someone, hey, do you know anybody that needs to buy or sell? It's not even about that. It's just when you take interest in other people, they already know what you do. So the top 100 is a great way for you to give a different way every month that deepens the relationship. So you're open to receive a referral if they come in contact with someone. It's going to be more likely they're going to be like, oh, hey, I just heard of somebody at work, because you're going to be touching them every month in a different way that's meaningful and deepening the relationship. I just had a gal, she took one of my classes. This is a perfect example. She took one of my classes when I was teaching that 25-hour post-license, which I wish I could still teach that because I had so much fun doing that. Anyway, we've stayed in touch, and she's on Facebook, and we're together. She sends me a private message last week, 2 weeks ago, and says, hey, do you know anybody in the Canton and not Marietta, but Canton and, you know, that side of town? And so she goes, I figure if anybody would know, you would. It's not my wheelhouse, and I have somebody coming from Canada. I don't think I can help them. I immediately, now I could have gone on the website. I know Molly's office. I know, you know, a lot of the brokers over there. But there's someone that I just talk to a lot because he's got boxers, and so do I. We have a relationship. And he was the first person that popped in my head. So I reached out to him right away. I was like, hey, Jonathan, do you service Canton and whatever? He's like, I sure do. And I said, perfect, I have a referral for you. I got right back to her and I was like, Jonathan's your guy, blah, blah, blah. I was out of town last week. My husband calls me. He's like, you got some package in the mail. It's like one of those Harry and David things. I'm like, what? And who do you think it was from? I mean, how nice was that? He sent me a Harry and David package because I did the referral. But why did he get the referral? Because I have a relationship with him. So who do you have relationships with? That's where you're going to get a lot of referrals from. And I was happy to put the two of them together. You know, most people like to be able to refer. Different ways, you know them all. The phone calls, pop-bys, home anniversaries, videos, personal notes, monthly item of value, CMA reports, Facebook, lunch coffees, all that. We talked about a spreadsheet, but if top 100 is on your list of things to move forward for 2020, just reach out to me and I can give you all the reinforcements that you need. 14, that. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and start talking to people. What was that? Oh, I thought somebody added something. So second quarter challenge, why don't you make 2 intentional phone calls per day? Challenge yourself. Get an accountability partner. Write down who you talk to. Like I'm doing this personal note challenge and I mean, I don't want to send the same person a note, so I have to track it. So all my notes I'm writing down in my day timer so that I don't duplicate the notes because by the end of March, I mean, there's a good chance that I could be, you know, and if it makes sense to do another note, fine. But track. When you track, it's amazing the stuff, just writing down the people that I'm sending notes to. Other people keep popping in my head. I'm like, oh, I'm going to write that person a note. I'm going to write that person a note. So getting it out of your head is really important. You could have 132 conversations in the second quarter. I mean, I know people that probably don't have 132 conversations in a year. So just make 2 intentional phone calls a day, and I don't care what they are. Maybe it's a FSBO, maybe it's an expired, maybe it's someone in your sphere of influence, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's another agent. Who cares? But just get proactive and intentional. You'd be shocked how many days you may go without really talking to people because we do so much on text and email and Facebook, and we feel like we're making a connection. When people call me, it's powerful. It's much more powerful than all the other ways. So take the challenge. That might be a fun challenge to do in the Facebook thing. Maybe I'll do that one. Here's another thing of circle prospecting. Hey, Lori, do we still have Red X or did we put that to bed? So the office has Red X. I mean, so if you have a new listing, you know, call 40 houses. There's this thing called Farm 40. If you just focused on 40 people around an open house, around a listing that you have or that the office has, it's amazing the things that can happen, the conversations, the questions that could come up. You're not asking people to move. You're asking if they have any questions. When you have a buyer that can't find a home, simple. When a buyer doesn't have a home, all you have to do is start asking them, hey, which neighborhood would be your favorite? And then start figuring out a way to do it. All you have to do is give one address to Lori and she can provide you with a list of names and phone numbers in that area. You could mail to them, you could call to them. When you have an open house, just call 40 houses around it. Let those 40 houses know exactly what happens from the time you put that house on the market until it is done, and then 40 days later, we'll talk about that. Circle prospecting is great when you want to dominate an area. And then we already have Red X. There are other sources out there, but you will need to have some kind of resource. It's too hard to find phone numbers, and the office is already investing in that. Huge win. I know we all know it, but are we doing it? Has anybody really pushed themselves through the call aversion and got out of their comfort zone and started getting super confident having conversations with strangers? Like, what a great skill. What a great way to differentiate yourself and just to see if you can provide value for somebody. Hey, you got any questions? I'm having an open house on Saturday. I'd love for you to come by, take a look at the house. Is there anything I can help you with? Or did you have any questions about that house or anything that's going on in the neighborhood? That's the script. Woo! I mean, there's nothing fancy about it. You're just being a human who has a house to sell. You're being a professional and you're trying to see if there's other people that you can help. Financial security, again, we have all these charts that will show you what can be when you move from consistent to efficient to proficient. So there's a lot of magic that can happen, but you got to be willing to get consistent first. You can't jump to the proficient stage unless you're consistent first. So here we go. Note, using the mail. So the new listing prospect letter, I wish I had Robert Smith on here. He dominated. Not sure if he's still utilizing this in that one particular neighborhood in Loganville, but he put himself on a saved search for a particular neighborhood. Every time a house went up for sale, he mailed out the prospect letter. I think it was last year I had spoken to him, and he had closed 13 homes from that neighborhood in 2 years. I think his commissions was a little over $80,000 just from one neighborhood. That's a pretty good return if you really think. I think the neighborhood had like 100 homes in it, or 100. And so if you take that and multiply it out from these letters, 82,000. I don't know how much it, that mailing would have cost. Probably not much. It's a pretty good return on investment. So the new listing prospect letter, we can edit this, we can change this. You can take 40 homes. You might say, you know what, I'm just going to do that farm 40. So it doesn't have to be masses. You don't have to do to the masses. You just have to be consistent. So the new prospect letter, there's another letter that you can send out. We kind of had fun with this, doing the Xactimate versus the guesstimate. So we kind of did a play on words. And this is another fun letter. This could be when you get the listing. So again, you can just do 40. Just farm the 40 around that one house. That's how you can get 3 more pieces of business every time you have one. Same thing with the postcards. We have the guess what your neighbor did last night. We're getting results. And again, you want to bring up the 7-step pricing strategy. I would start just saying, if, at the end we say, if you're considering a move in the next 6 months, we would love to talk to you now. You can just start doing, hey, if you're considering a move in 2020, we would love to sit down now and see what your plans are. So again, you're not looking for people that want to move today. You're trying to start the engagement process, because every time a house goes up for sale, there's about 7 other ones, and anywhere from 5 to 7 within about a 1-mile radius that will also move in the next 6 to 8 months. So you want these postcards to dribble within a 6-month period, not within 6 weeks. You want to try to get mileage. So just because the house goes under contract right away doesn't mean the postcard has to go out right away. So take advantage of staying in front of people over time. And so we had these 4 postcard ideas. You can kind of play around with them and edit them. We're going to have a home valuator on our new websites. So you'll be able to direct people directly to your website to be able to do those things. So you won't have to use Cloud CMA anymore, which is great. And again, you're telling a story. So you're telling the story of how you help people, and you're utilizing the 7-step pricing strategy, the 15-point high exposure marketing plan. The big sentence that a lot of people get some bang out is, call Neymar, ask what our membership is. And that's the thing. The Smiths are moving and chose me out of 3,244 other realtors that work this area because I take an invested approach to getting homes sold. That's the phrase that pays right there. Utilize that in your marketing. So just because these are ideas here, feel free to edit, change. We have them in a Word doc. Tell a story. Again, we have the proven stats of people that stay consistent. So it's all about farming consistently. And I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, postcards don't work. Well, I beg to differ, because I'll tell you right now, I get, and I have it for classes that I teach, Karen and Company, I get her the scoop, and it comes once a month, and I see a boatload of her signs in Stonegate. Stonegate has thousands of homes, and she pretty much dominates Stonegate. And I get this every month. So you know what? Farming does work. I don't care what anybody says. It works for the people that are consistent. It's just whether or not it's in your belief system. Doesn't have to be. I'm just saying it's an idea. It's something you can think about. Mail out 35 unsolicited market update reports. I know Susan, I think Mary Grace, Michelle. I know a lot of people. You might do them twice a year. Some people just pick January or December. You might pick your very best people. Go in. You could either even do just the quick CMA wizard, do a little handwritten note on it that just gives an update, put it in an envelope, get it out. I'm telling you, Zillow had 77,000 people asked for an offer last year. 77,000 people asked for an offer. They only bought 4,000 homes, by the way, Zillow did. But now they have 77,000 people that expressed some measly type of interest. If you're not providing information to your folks, they'll just go somewhere else and get it. So just be the one that provides it to see if they have any questions or need anything. It shows that you are staying relevant and current, and that, I mean, I get one from my finance guy about my portfolio. It's like why wouldn't we? If we make like, oh, it's their biggest investment, and then we completely ignore them. So mail these out. June challenge, or you could do it now, whatever. Just pick 35 people that maybe have been in their house for 5 years or more, and just send them an update. And they might have a question. You never know. Number 10, again, one-on-one meetings are when you're in the influential zone. So what I like to say with the pyramid from 7 levels of communication is, when you're doing something, so when you're doing a direct mail piece, remember you're providing information. So anytime, instead of doing like this or that, try this and that. So anytime you do direct mail, and Buffini used to say this all the time, whatever you put in the mail, if you follow up with a phone call, it's 7 times more effective. See, I wanted my newsletter to do all my business for me. I didn't want to talk to people. But when I started talking to people after the newsletter went out, it was so true. I used to have the letter 7 in my office because it forced me to, hey, do you want to be 7 times more effective than you are by just putting something in the mail? Then pick up the phone. Handwritten notes are in here, phone calls, one-on-one meetings. It gets me to open houses. Just had a gal yesterday. She was at an open house. I called her. I was like, hey, how's it going? She goes, well, I did one on Saturday too. Picked up 2 buyers on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure I have one for today. She's struggling in her business. It's not even her open houses. I was like, go do an open house for somebody. Go out and do open houses. Get in front of people. You're great at rapport building. Make sure you have good follow-up. Do the open house and you follow our effective open house. Remember, even if nobody walks through the front door, it should be effective for you if you're doing the before, the during, and the after stage. So again, we have a letter that you can mail out. We have the buyer criteria sheet. Hopefully you're utilizing the buyer criteria sheet with your current clients. Open houses can be very, very effective. So remember, if you're doing open houses, I would print this conversion table and I'd have this in my office so that it would keep me engaged and it would keep me, look what can be when I get better. If I just did 2 open houses a week for 45 weeks, once I got really proficient at it, I could close 41 deals just from doing open houses. And I could say, I'm not going to do anything but open houses. So there's a lot to be said when you do them effective. If open houses goes on your right sheet of your sheet right now, make sure you reach out and watch my video on it. Second quarter challenge, hold 10 by the end of June. I'm going to hold 10 open houses by the end of June. Get them scheduled. You do them right, you're going to have lots of business. It can be fun. Number 9, put 50 people on a property update via your website. So again, these are the safe searches. We're going to be able to do this from our booj websites. So once we get in and can set people up, have them getting an update. We don't have at Matrix eProperty Watch. They have eProperty Watch out here in the MLS. It's part of their package. Oh, it is so good. I get it from 3 agents on my neighborhood. I love it. It's called eProperty Watch. It's not free in Atlanta, but we're going to be able to do it from our website. So put 50 people on one of those. It used to be the Market Watch Snapshot. Number 8, booj. Set up your lead routing. Lori put out an email about this. They're spending a lot of money on SEO for now the new remax.com. It's now going to be powered by booj, not by homes.com, thank goodness. So there's a good chance that when this comes out with all the new stuff that they're putting behind it and all the SEO, that we're going to start to get some leads. We've already been getting traffic. It's just that the homes.com platform was terrible. And so now we're going to have actually really good stuff. So you do need to get in there and make sure that your MLS affiliation is set up and you've put in your service areas. You get 10 zip codes and you just need to go to the Booge platform, go over to the far right, hit settings, and you'll see lead offerings. Click on lead offerings and go through. There's like 3 or 4 steps that you want to get done. And you need to do this before the 31st because you will no longer have access to anything in Lead Street. So get all your contacts out of there. If you need help, just reach out. The other thing we're going to want to do is I would encourage you to start figuring out an announcement for your website and for the mobile app. Because as soon as you can get all your clients to register and get an account, they will always be connected to you. They can still, other people can still email them and all that. So it doesn't have the same ownership, if you will, that we used to have with the other one. But you want to get them engaged on your website. And then you can put all your service providers on there. You can put videos on there. We have a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be able to do, but they're going to love the mobile app and they're going to like it a lot better than Zillow. So I would encourage you to start crafting an email letter, an email notification to all your clients. And we can put links to your website and then we can put links to the mobile app. And you're going to want to make sure everybody gets you downloaded on their phone as soon as possible. The mobile app has a lot better features than Zillow. So Zillow used to have a lot of people. I think it's going to be easy to get them onto ours. So start thinking about that. 7, the personal note challenge. I'm already doing this with about 95 people from around the country, but you can do it. Do 5 handwritten notes a week for 2020. That's 250 smiles you're going to put on people's faces. Go buy your stamps now. Go get all your notes. Put them on your desk and do 5 a week. You'll change. It's such a great habit. I'm so glad I'm back into this habit. It's week 3 and I can't even wait. I have such a big list. Some people are crushing it. Doing 18 and 20 and 11, and I love it. It's fantastic, and I'm super excited to be back into this habit. So, and I had some phone calls. It was kind of cool because there's this one guy that he came to one of my classes, and I never really co-opted with him, but he's in another office, and he reached out to me just via email after he's in the group, and he just said, it was so funny because he said, I feel like such an ass because I never really thanked all the clients that I worked with. And I said, well, you know what's great about it is it's never too late to thank people. And he's having so much fun doing this now. He's like, I wish I had done this before. So it's been really cool, the comments and the feedback that we've been getting. So try the personal note challenge. One thing on your appointments, a good thing to do, and we talked about this in the pricing strategy, is you know that your clients are going online before that you come for the appointment. So I do encourage you to go to a bunch of the websites and put in their address and just take a snippet. I just snippet, the home values. Like my old house, Realtor.com said it was worth $526. RE/MAX said it was worth $506. RPR said it was worth $559. The tax record had a value of $444 to $576. Zillow said it was worth $544. And then we just do like an update at the bottom. And we just say, you'll notice that I'm sure you've been online, whatever. And they're just data miners. So they don't take into account the 3 things that a realtor coming to your house can. And that's why it's so important that people don't let computers give them a value. So I encourage you to have this conversation with people right up front because there's a 99% chance they've already been online trying to figure out what their house is worth. So you don't want to not bring it up. We also have the 15-point high quality exposure plan. So something that just goes through all the things that you do to differentiate your service. This is just something you could edit and work from, but it's just a great little brochure. I just kind of threw it together with the highlights of each thing, but you do want to have some good leave behinds. And whenever you can utilize the 7-step pricing strategy, that's also good. That's trademarked and it's only for RE/MAX. So again, have your brochures. If you need help, the pricing conversation is so important. I think Lori, you're still doing pricing, right? Like every once in a while you're doing the pricing?
Yes.
Yeah, and I encourage you to get some of these conversation points in place with your clients, having them self-discover. Any little bit that you can improve on in the pricing game is going to be key. We really need to be blowing the pricing. In my opinion, we need to be blowing that up as to such a big differentiator because of all these online evaluators that are bringing property values down, and people are taking convenience over value, and that's because they're not hearing anything different. So definitely try to work on your pricing skills this year. Home anniversary reviews, I mean, if you just went through right now and picked out everybody that ever bought a house from you in February and set up 20, 30 minutes appointments where you're just going to drop off an updated home value report, remind them to go and check, has your insurance gone up? Did you do a claim? Was it because of your tax value? Ask them, did you ever use the home warranty that you had? Bring them a home maintenance checklist. Are they doing their termite? Do they want to get a radon test? And if you actually set up these appointments and just said, hey, it's been 5 years, I wanted to come out for 30 minutes and just bring you some information about your home and get you updated on things, see if you had any questions, you'd probably get a bunch of referrals like within a month of doing that. So every month I would just pull anybody that bought a house in that month and try to get them scheduled. Some people will be like, hey, I'm kind of too busy. Okay, can I drop it in the mail for you? Like, just make the offer. Instead of just sending them a card that says, wow, you've been in your house for 7 years. I mean, if you're not having a conversation with them every year on their anniversary to see if they have questions, I think you're missing out on a huge opportunity. And to get face-to-face, that's considered a powerful pop-by. You're taking an interest in people without any expectation of anything in return. Very, very powerful. It's a great habit to get into. I hope this goes on the right side of your sheet. Number 4, track all your expenses for your listings and your return on investment. So what are you doing every time you get a listing, and can you monetize that return on investment? This will show you what your total spend was, what your net commission was. That'll let you know what your return on investment was. It'll also, at the bottom, reminds you to try to get 3 additional pieces of business every time you have a listing. So you have that 1, 2, and 3. You're trying to fill this sheet out. So I would print one of these every time I had a listing, and I'd put it in the front of my file, or I'd put it wherever, and I'd start everything. Like Back At You is going away unless you're keeping it, so you can take that off. AdWorks, we're still getting the 7 days free. Are you going in and changing the banner? Are you trying to get any kind of return? So this is just a great way to know your numbers and to really stay in tune with what you're doing when you get your listings. And if nothing else, are you getting 3 more pieces of business every time you have one? You could also use like a little picture of referral tree. So you put your client's name there, and then you're trying to fill the tree with 3 more names. All right, number 3. These are just some books that I kind of have been through over the last couple of years. Some of you are avid readers. If you do have really good books that you've read, it would be great if you just post them in the center members book. I'm always looking for good ideas, and I think everybody else is. These were just a few that had resonated with me, and I kind of took a little bit from each one. Number 2, this was about creating the friend list, and I've talked about this before, but this is a great way to kind of filter out a lot of garbage from Facebook and to just see what's going on with your very best people. So you just go to friend list on the left, hit create a list, put your very best people in there, and then you can pull up just those people and see what's going on with them. It gives you great reasons for phone calls and for personal notes. It also lets you communicate directly just with them. And then number 1, some of you already do this, and I say go to work, but what I really mean is try to put yourself on a salary. So if you can get yourself into a payroll service, which is very reasonable, and start just taking a paycheck either once a month or every other week, it'll kind of keep you reinforced of, oh, I got to go to work. I got to go to work. So hopefully you've been able to write down some great ideas on the left, and then on the right, you have 5 ideas that you're going to work from. if I can provide additional information on any of this, please let me know. I'd be happy to, and the recording will go up into the Facebook page and then onto the website. So what do you think, Lori? Anything you want to add, or anybody else? I can unmute.
No, I've got my 5.
Oh, good. Did everybody else get 5 in there? 5 things? I can unmute a couple of people. Mary Grace, did you get anything? Joanne?
Yep. I did.
Good. Susan, any ideas on any of those?
Yeah, and the buyer criteria sheet, is that somewhere on the website, or?
I'll send it over to you. It probably is, but I'll just email it to you right now so I don't forget.
I'm one of those people that don't know anything about Boosh.
Oh.
My Boosh isn't working.
Huh?
I can't get into Boosh.
You can't. What's going on?
My
Okay, I said that, now I just got in.
Yeah, that's what
You just needed support, Mary Grace.
I know.
Yes.
Holly, that was one of the most comprehensive presentations ever. If any of the agents would take even a third or half of what is on what you presented, they'd be so busy. Everybody would be busy. That was fantastic.
Agreed.
Good. Well, thank you. I'm hoping for 5 things that people like are going to reach out and say, hey, I want to do these 5. I need this. I want help. I think when I come in April, right, Lori, that's going to be a Boosh workshop, right? Wasn't it? Isn't that what we planned? Right? Did we say that? Was that?
we haven't talked about the retreat yet, but like we'll put given any announcements yet. But yeah, I think we're gonna do.
Yeah, if anybody wants to, what I like is the top 100. Like, I want to text someone one month. I want to call someone the next month. I want to do a personal note month 3. I want to do an unsolicited CMA month 4. I want to do a video message month 6 or whatever. Like, putting that into a task plan and then initiate and like getting it assigned to people, and you just assign it to a couple people each day because you don't want to fill your inbox in 30 days with 100 text messages. So if everybody kind of spent all of February getting that into place and initiating the people, then it would fill your calendar for the rest of the year. It would be kind of cool. So Boosh is just, you're going to be able to do newsletters through it. It's going to integrate with video. Again, as people get on the website, you'll be able to see if they're on the website. You can add your service providers to the website. Pretty easy too. But yeah, so Susan, if you want to chat later, or if Lachelle wants to do it, what we need to do is get, make sure your contacts are out of Lead Street if you had any.
Right there.
Okay. And then we just need to get your zip codes assigned so that for lead routing, and then get your phone number in there for to receive text messaging. And everybody needs to do that by the 31st because the old remax.com gets put to bed and the new one gets launched. We could probably do a video on how to do that, Lori.
Yeah, that was on my thing to do and post that this week.
Yeah.
Getting everything on the Lead Street, and then how to go into Boosh for lead routing.
Yeah, that was a good screenshot, just to do a screen video on that. And then I'll post up this video in Facebook, and then Susan, I'll get you the criteria sheet. Good. Anything else? Anybody else?
Thank you, Holly.
Yep. Well, I'm here to help, and let me know how I can help. We can always set up a Zoom meeting if you need help, and Lori's also available. So sounds good. I hope you all have a great day.
All right. Thank you, Holly.
Okay.
Bye. Thanks, Holly.
Thank you.